This is TWiT.
So every year at CES, I make it my mission when I go to find a trend. David, is there any sense of a trend this year at CES?
I mean, you know, you have the kind of the standards. You have TVs, you have laptops, and you have kind of, you know, now smart home. The one I think I would say really the trends that actually stuck out as not being as prominent were the ones that were more noticeable to me. I mean, you had automotive essentially drop off a cliff. There were some announcements from like Cadillac, but these are mostly concepts. They're not real things. And I think you saw that area drop off. You saw smart home drop off like we discussed. Mobile at CES is essentially dead. There's no more of that. So I think the theme really was that CES this year slimmed down to kind of its core competencies, which tend to be, like I said, TVs, laptops, and then, you know, to an extent still smart home. But overall, you know, for us and the way we cover it, obviously we're covering it from more of a mobility perspective. And so what we end up seeing are mostly the laptops this year.
Right.
But as a trend, I think that, you know, you saw the bigger players, you know, with more announcements, and then you saw the smaller players kind of step back. If I were to say there's a particular product niche that had a high level of interest, I think laptops for sure. Just because the demand is through the roof. We've seen the numbers about PC sales going up for the first time in a decade. So everybody wants to jump on, you know, the work from home train because they either have to or, you know, they're looking for better tools to work from home. And I think that, you know, you'll see probably over the next year, you'll see more and more innovation in laptops and probably desktop computing too. You know, if what Apple's working on turns out to be true. So I'm looking forward to all that. And I think CES is probably just a taste of what we're going to see for the rest of the year.
It's kind of hard to show off TVs on a virtual screen. It's kind of hard to show off self-driving cars if you can't get in them. I think maybe there is no way. You can't really judge CES this year. What about those crazy rollable, LG and TCL showed rollable phones and rollable screens. They had was it LG that had the or is it TCL that had the tablet that was a scroll? But again, we can't look at them in real life and say, well, that'll never work.
Yeah. The thing too is like, when I was going to say, like, most people, they end up seeing it through all of our coverage anyway. So they're just kind of envisioning it from our show floor footage as well. But I think talking about trends, the buzzword that I just kept hearing over and over was AI. AI this, AI that. And at some point I'm like, what even does it mean?
What does it mean? Yeah.
This AI toothbrush, which I actually have one of the Oral-B IO toothbrushes, and their AI is pretty incredible.
Wait a minute, is that, I have that too. Is that the one that you turn on your phone and then you brush your teeth and it says, okay, now you got to do this part, now you got to do this part, and then it sparkles when you're done? That one? Yeah.
Yes, it is. So, I mean,
I wouldn't call that AI, but still.
Well, I know, but like that's like, I guess for people, like that's what they're saying
it's
AI
fun.
is.
Yeah.
It is.
I guess it's got to be trained so that the accelerometer in the brush really, it doesn't know that you're brushing your lower right-hand corner, but thanks to training with models, it can kind of, oh yeah, when they do that, that's the lower right-hand corner. I guess that's AI.
It's like Roomba for your mouth?
Yeah, it's Roomba for your mouth, except you have to push it. It doesn't do it automatically.
But it's far better catchphrase.
Roomba for your mouth. I don't know, really? But it shows on the screen, right? It shows where you are in your mouth. And you got to do this. And my teeth never were cleaner than when I did that.
That's what I said. And I first tested that out last year at CES. And then they made me give it back because it was a prototype. So then I went for like 6 months without having perfectly clean teeth until it finally came out. Those are the types of things that you can't really experience. Like I went to the booth, got the toothbrush, tried it for 2 days, and then I had to give it back. But yeah, the AI, the automotive is all kind of very interesting. And it was kind of cool because my sister actually hosted some of the GM interviews. So they were able to like pre-record, have all of this content ready. So by the time actually CES came around, you were able to like watch all of this content. But yeah, I mean, as far as mobile is concerned, CES is not the place for that. And I feel like all these companies, everyone's just kind of figuring out how to do it on their own and to make the buzz without the help of like these larger companies or platforms. They're just like, we're going to do it and we're going to hopefully, just hope for the best.
Yeah, Sam Abul-Samid, our car guy, was talking on the radio show about GM announcing this new commercial EV brand. FedEx is going to do it. It's called, was it Bright Drop? And one of the things that's cool about it, it has in the truck, it has an automatic electrically powered pallet. You put the packages on the pallet, they get loaded in the truck and then offloaded from the truck automatically, which is kind of cool. I think that a lot of the companies that are doing EVs and self-driving have realized that the future for them is going to be in business sales and commercial use, at least initially, because I don't know. You drive a Tesla, right, Justine, or do you?
I don't know. I still have not got an electric vehicle yet, and I'm just kind of like that perfect thing.
Oh, yeah.
I did pre-order the Tesla Cybertruck, though.
Did you really? I can see you in that.
I've always wanted a Ford Raptor, and I was just about to buy one, and then the pandemic hit, and I was like, well, I'm not going anywhere.
You got to get driving gloves with metal studs, pointy metal studs, if you're going to drive that, because that's...
I love it. It's pretty cool. So I'm definitely excited to test that out. But GM also showed off their Hummer at CES, too, their electric Hummer, which looks incredible.
See, that's one I want to get in. I want to see. I don't want to see it on the screen. I've seen pictures of it. I want to get in it. They had
How ironic is that? The electric Hummer.
I know.
Right?
It's Hummer for people like you and me, Denise, who have felt guilty about driving a gas-guzzling giant military truck. But, hey, if it's electric, it's green.
But then the problem with a lot of these electric vehicles is, where do you charge it once everybody has one?
Huge
and like
problem.
The Tesla infrastructure is so superior to everything else. It's like if you don't have a Tesla, you might be struggling to have these charging stations.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just charging it at home. I mean, my power bill's bad enough without an electric Hummer in the garage.
Well, so that's why we bought more solar panels and Tesla Powerwall batteries and all of that, because Lisa drives a Bolt. I'm going to have the Mustang Mach-E. I love it that I can get in the car and it's got a full tank of electricity in the morning, and I don't have to, I remember when I dropped off the we had an Audi, our last gas vehicle. We dropped it off a couple of weeks ago, and I remember thinking the last time I was at a gas station, I'll never see you again. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Yeah, I think that you're dead on about the charging infrastructure is a problem, but I think that, the fact is EVs are, for that reason, just targeted at homeowners right now. If you own a home, an EV makes a lot more sense. As soon as you get that level 2 charger in there, it's pretty easy.
And if you're in an apartment, it's a challenge. I don't know how you would do it. Or if you rent it, I don't know how you would do it.
I live in an apartment complex, and we have 4 charge point chargers.
For 400 people or something, right?
Yeah, about. But they're not in use as often as you would think. I mean, it is getting there. Granted, living in the Bay Area, everything EV is about a year ahead of the rest of the country, at least. But I feel pretty confident, especially watching where Ford and other EV manufacturers are now like seeding press cars, that the charging infrastructure is there enough for them to start making a credible argument that these vehicles are pretty livable as long as you live in the right part of the country.
The Rivian is also pretty awesome. I did see that last year at CES, so I'm really interested to check that out. But the problem is, a lot of these people, if you want to have a self-driving car, you have to go Tesla route because, great, there's a difference between an electric car and then, this one drives for me. So I think, Tesla's really the only option.
Ford has promised us Mach-E owners that they will 6 months from now ship in a self-driving feature. But I think, like GM's self-driving feature, it'll be limited to highways and there'll be all sorts of limits on it. Last week on MacBreak Weekly, David Polk was saying his Model 3, it'll get him on the on-ramp, it'll get him off the on-ramp, it sees stop signs, speed limits. They're getting better. I would have a death grip on the
I would be
steering
very scared. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to play Animal Crossing and let it drive me to the mall.